Hey guys, Phil here at Woods Tree Farm. Today we are working on upgrading our internet at the farm. Yeah, we have internet. We don't have running water, but we have internet. And anyway, we have the service installed here at the shed at the top of the hill here on the west side of the pond. And what I'd like to be able to do is have Wi-Fi signal over a much larger area on the property. So we can send and receive messages and receive phone calls and all that kind of stuff over the Wi-Fi network. And then of course, like when we're on equipment, we can stream music and audiobooks and all that kind of stuff too. So my goal is to get a Wi-Fi signal out across the pond and well into that field, hopefully all the way back to that tree line in the very back of the property over there. So that is I think at least like 800-900 feet away. It might be over 1,000. So I've got a couple things here that I'll go over the whole kit here with you, and hoping that this upgrade projects that Wi-Fi signal out a lot farther than our standard little Wi-Fi router will. So let me show you what we got. Now this is actually just part of my kit because I'm waiting on one more part, but I wanted to go ahead and get this started. So here's our main little pole mount for the antenna that we're going to be putting up. And I'm looking at this, I probably should have gotten a longer one, but this is labeled as a 17-inch antenna. It's got the little wall mount. Came with hardware for a variety of different types of walls. So there's a lag screw, and there's a little expanding screw there if we're going to be putting it in masonry. So we're going to bolt this right into the peak of our shed, and then with this standing straight up, our antenna will actually have two antennas, and I'll show you why here in a second. We'll mount on that, hopefully. Then I've got a long Ethernet cable that will go from our router to our main antenna. And then this is what I'm calling the main antenna. This is actually an access point, and effectively what this does is creates another network. You could actually end up getting multiple of these and setting up a mesh network if you wanted, if you had the ability to run power or Ethernet cable to each of these access points. We don't, so we're going to try something else. We're going to use this access point to create our secondary network. This has two omnidirectional antennas on the top, so this should do a better job at broadcasting signal than our standard Wi-Fi router. And then I have another long-range antenna that'll actually plug into one of these antenna points, and hopefully it will broadcast the signal out over the field. But that's going to have to be later in the video, for after I get the part in that I need to connect to this antenna connection here, and I'll show you that later in the video. All right, inside of our access point we have the main the access point itself. It had these two antennas, they just thread on, and then it comes with wall mount plate and wall mount hardware if that's where you're going to be putting it. But since we're going to be putting it on a pole, you can actually just use one of the also supplied little cable ties here, and it'll go right through that, and then we'll go ahead and put that up on our pole. So one of the nice things about this is that you don't actually have to run the power all the way to this unit. It uses what's called power over Ethernet. So this is your power adapter. This gets plugged in inside with the supplied power cord, and then one side of this gets plugged into your router and the other side gets plugged into this. So that's why I have the long Ethernet cord, so I can go from inside at this PoE to the outside with this antenna, or this access point. The access point also comes with a wall mount if you want to put it up. I don't know if we will or not, I'll see when I get in there, but you know, you can choose to use that if you want, and if not, then you can just leave it on there and set this down on a shelf or whatever. And for now, I'm just going to let this sit down low because I don't know exactly how much room I'm going to need at the top for the other antenna. So I'll leave this kind of loose and leave it down low, and then once I get the other antenna installed, we'll figure out its final position. Inside the shed here, we've got the Ethernet cable run from up near the peak of the roof there, down along the wall, over to here, and now I'm at a stopping point. So I've got to make a little material list for me to finish this job tomorrow. I want to get some silicone on that hole where I put the Ethernet cable through the wall. I need a shorter Ethernet cable to go from the little PoE adapter to the Wi-Fi router that we have already. I didn't bring that. I swear, I double checked everything before I left the house, and that somehow I overlooked. We're back. This is what's known as the Wi-Fi Sword. This is a directional Wi-Fi antenna compared to the one that's up there is a omnidirectional antenna. So the omnidirectional antenna sends signal out in all directions. This one sends signal out only in the direction it's pointing. So we want to blast a Wi-Fi signal out across the property that way. I measured on Google Maps. It is over 1,000 feet from here to the back corner of that field. So that's where I want to see if we can get Wi-Fi all the way back there by putting this up there. Let's go find out. So up here on the Wi-Fi access point, we take off one of the antennas, and with that off, then this antenna can thread into that spot where this antenna was. This antenna has a, you can see here, 25-degree horizontal beam width and a 24-degree vertical beam width. So being up there in the shed, it's sending a really focused signal out across the pond in that direction, and having 25 degrees or 24 degrees of vertical spread, you know, kind of, we'll see what it looks like over there, because we've got a hill on the other side. It goes back down and then it comes back up way down over there. So we'll just have to see if the signal reaches over there given the topography. We definitely could use a taller mast to mount that antenna on, but we'll just have to see how it goes. We are a little bit over 600 feet from the shed here. You can see it way off in the distance over there. We're at the top of the first hill that you can see from the shed. So pull out the phone here and just show you. There is the network strength that is showing about 59. It kind of moves around a little bit, just went to 61. So anyway, the lower the number, or I guess not the lower, it's a negative number. So the closer to 0, the stronger the signal. I don't really know what these numbers represent, to be honest, but I do know if it's a higher negative number, like the other regular network that is on our router is like a negative 86 right now, that is a weaker signal than the one that's reading negative 61, which is the stronger antenna. Now, we were out here the other day with just the outdoor access point, and in this spot right here, we were reading in the 70s, in the negative 70s. So the fact that I'm in the 60s now is indication that it is receiving a stronger signal now with that longer antenna than it was with just the outdoor access point. So let's go another 300 plus feet back to the back corner in that direction behind the camera and see how this picks up. Okay, here we are in the back corner of our field, and this is, if you haven't seen this before, this is our little family campsite. That's my outdoor shower. So this is all the way in the back corner, and we are now around 1,000 feet from the shed. It is giving me a negative 78 or so, which is what it considers to be a low signal. So not nearly as strong as I thought it was going to be. I'm going to try to fire up a video and see if I can get a YouTube video to stream from out here. I think there's enough signal that we can send and receive messages and stuff. Whether we can actually like stream anything, I don't know. We'll see in a second. But that's the big thing that we were going for, is being able to just to communicate while we're out here, especially like sending and receiving messages, or sending or making phone calls, receiving phone calls. Our last 2.5 years out here, we haven't been able to do any of that. And for the last couple months, we've had Wi-Fi at the shed all the way up there, but it really, that standard router really only reached maybe 200 feet from the shed at the most, and beyond that, the signal was really spotty. So that outdoor access point is definitely putting out a stronger signal, and that extra antenna seems to be doing the trick. Let's test it now with a YouTube video. All right, so we will just go ahead and load up the Flat Creek Outdoors channel trailer. Oh, look at that. They had no trouble running an ad. Works. Streaming 1,000 feet away. And you know what? Just to make sure that video wasn't like cached on my phone or something, because I know I have played that video on the phone before. Let's just go and pick up maybe a recent video from my subscriptions. Here's GP Outdoors. Yeah, doing great.
You bet. Got my shot yesterday.
Okay, so that loads, and then the final thing I'll test real quick is let's do a little speed test. I think I have a speed test app. So this is going to go ahead and run the speed of the network here. There's the final result. We are at 40 megabytes a second download and 15 upload, 1,000 feet from the shed. So plenty fast enough to stream whatever we want to stream for the most part. So I am super pleased with that. I will put a full parts list of all the stuff that we use to do this. This was not an expensive upgrade, and to be able to have kind of the peace of mind to communicate out here pretty much anywhere in the open part of our property now is a big upgrade for us here at the farm. So like I said, I'll leave the whole parts list down in this video's description. When it came to the adapters between that long antenna and the outdoor access point, I don't know if I got exactly the best configuration. There's actually 2 different adapters to make that thing work. But anyway, it seems to work. And like I said, I will put links to each of those items in this video's description. So if you want to do the same kind of thing out on your property, you can just click on those links. And of course, if you purchase through those links, that supports the channel. So I appreciate you doing that. I'm gonna wrap it up for today. If you guys got any questions about this project and about how we went about setting all of this up, just let me know. Leave it in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye. Sun's going down. You ready to roll out?
1 second. Now I'm ready.
Now you ready? Okay, would you have something in your shoe?
Yeah, I'm just doing it. I'm going to release the camera.